Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the NBA slate on DraftKings and Yahoo for Friday, February the 22nd. We got a 9-game Friday night slate. I'm going to work my way through each position, talk about some of the guys that stand out to me on this 9-game slate, give some of my early thoughts, work our way through the player pool. And I will give my 5 plays for DraftKings and 5 plays for Yahoo. These are 5 guys that I specifically like for each site. The 5 plays may differ, and they're going to differ in this video. They're not always the same on both sites, so make sure you're tuning in, especially if you play on DraftKings and Yahoo. Yahoo running rake-free GPPs every night. They ran a 100K GPP on Thursday night, and it overlaid a little bit. They're running a 50K rake-free tournament on Friday night, 10 entry max. You should definitely get in there. I say this pretty much every video, but if you're not playing on Yahoo, you probably should. My referral link is down in the description if you want to join through me. Do get a little bit of a bonus. Does benefit both of us. But let's go ahead and look at point guard today. Just before we do get started, I would appreciate it if you guys would drop a like on the video. And if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. But point guard today, we got Russell Westbrook, top of this position, and most expensive player on the slate overall, $11,500, in a home matchup against the Jazz. Paul George, next most expensive player, $10,800. And then you have guys like Towns at 10.4, Jokic 10.1, Vooch 9,800, and so on. Just looking at this slate the night before, I don't see myself really playing much Russell Westbrook here. It's not the best spot. It's a Jazz team that plays good team defense, plays at a slow pace. Westbrook's price has really started to rise with how he's played overall lately. Just before the All-Star break, how he was playing, pretty much putting up a triple-double every night, it seemed like. Even on the nights where you were getting a triple-double from Westbrook, some nights he really wasn't even hitting value, though. Like a 21, 12, 11 triple-double like he had against Houston, 58 DraftKings points. That's not really getting the job done at 11,500. I just feel like I can get probably just as much upside for cheaper with a guy like Jokic or Towns. Guys that are 1,000 plus cheaper that I feel like could easily outscore Westbrook. So don't really see myself paying up for him. If I was going to pay up for anybody at this position, it would definitely be Kemba Walker at 9,300. I do really like this matchup for Kemba Walker. I'm not a big fan of his price, but I still think he's in play. He would be the guy I would pay up for if I was forced to pay up for someone, but still don't see myself prioritizing the top of this position. On Yahoo, it's a little bit easier to play Kemba. He's only $38 over here. Definitely makes a lot of sense if you want to go to him on Yahoo, but I do like Trae Young if you're going a little bit cheaper. DraftKings is a little bit tougher to play him at 7,800. They've really adjusted his price since the Jeremy Lin trade. But on Yahoo, Trae Young's only $29. I really like him over here. Still feels a little bit underpriced. Since the Jeremy Lin trade, we've got 38 and 31 minutes out of Trae Young the last 2 games against the Lakers and the Knicks. 50 and 42 fantasy points. Kevin Huerter doubtful for this game, so that should just free up even more minutes in the backcourt for a guy like Trae Young. Should play a few more minutes with Kevin Huerter unlikely to play. Huerter does play about 30 minutes on a nightly basis, sometimes more than that. So I really like Trae Young here. I'm not really worried about the matchup against Detroit. I think he's a pretty good play at only $29 on Yahoo. It's 7,800 on DraftKings. I think you could probably look other ways. If you want to go cheaper to a guy like Lou Will, I think that makes sense. If you can try and find the salary to get up to Kemba, you could do that. But I still wouldn't mind playing Trae Young on DraftKings if I was forced to. But definitely not my favorite play. Have a lot more interest in him on Yahoo, where he's only $29. But now talking about other plays at this position. Before the All-Star break, Jeff Teague was playing really, really well. 2 games before the break, 35 and 38 minutes, 42 and 52 DraftKings points. I think he really benefited in those games with Andrew Wiggins being out. Wiggins is expected to play today against the Knicks, but this is a really good matchup for Jeff Teague. Good matchup against the Knicks. He's still only 5,900. If you want to play Jeff Teague today, he does really stand out to me in that mid-range. Darren Collison as well. Really like Darren Collison at just 5,700 against the Pelicans. I think those are 2 guys you could look to if you are going to that 5K range. And then if you're looking for value here, cheap plays, not really a ton stands out to me on this slate. Just looking at like guys that I could play for value, I don't really see any core plays as point guard value plays. So let's go ahead and move on to shooting guard. Talk about this position. At the top here, you got Bradley Beal, 9,200 against the Hornets. Really don't have a lot of interest in Bradley Beal today. I think there's other ways I would rather go on this slate. He had been playing really well the last 2 games, but both of those games came with Tomas Satoransky being out. Satoransky not on the injury report, expected to play today. We were getting big minutes in those games out of Bradley Beal, 41 and 44 minutes, 62 and 51 DraftKings points. I think Beal's minutes have dropped down a little bit here. I think he probably plays 37, 38 minutes instead of 40 plus. And I think his fantasy point projection drops down a little bit as well. I probably project him for like 50 points here, which is definitely okay at 9,200, but don't feel like it's a guy I have to play. There are other ways I would rather go at shooting guard. I really like DeMar DeRozan. He's probably one of my favorite plays on this slate. He's 7,300 on DraftKings. You can play him at shooting guard or small forward. He's small forward on Yahoo, and he's only $30 over here. Really like him on both sides. It is a revenge game for DeRozan. Revenge games are not usually something I factor too much into, but we saw earlier this year when DeRozan played the Raptors. He came out with a vengeance. He played really, really well, had 62 DraftKings points in 33 minutes, put up a triple-double, 21, 14, and 11 earlier this year against the Raptors. That game was at home. Now he gets to go on the road back to Toronto to face them again, this time playing in Canada in Toronto. So I think we see a really big game out of DeRozan here. His price is 7,300, which feels pretty nice on this slate. Derek White is expected to be back, which definitely hurts DeRozan a bit, but I'm going full narrative street today. I think DeRozan's a great play because of the narrative. He just looked like a totally different player that game when they played earlier this year. I watched pretty much that whole game. I think we get another big game out of DeRozan today. Like him on both sides. Probably one of my favorite plays overall. Hopefully he goes under-owned today. I doubt he does. He's probably going to get some ownership because of the revenge narrative. But still think he's a good play at 7,300. Like, Zach LaVine's the same price, and I would definitely play DeRozan over LaVine. But now let's talk about some other shooting guards we could potentially go to. Just looking at mid-range and value here, not really a ton stands out to me. I think with Kevin Huerter being doubtful, unlikely to play, you could potentially go to a guy like Kent Bazemore. He could move into the starting lineup, and at 4,200, would definitely put him in consideration for me. He did play 27 minutes in their last game before the break. So Kent Bazemore at 4,200 with Huerter unlikely to play would be the value guy I would go to if I had to play some value here. Bazemore starts, I think that at least puts him in consideration. He probably becomes a pretty good value if he does start for Huerter. They could start DeAndre Bembry as well, but pretty good chance Bazemore grabs a start. Let's go ahead and move on to small forward now. Talk about this position. So really don't have a ton of interest in the top here. You got Paul George at 10-8. Not my favorite play on this slate. Not the best matchup with the Jazz. I would rather play Jokic, rather play Towns, who are cheaper. Don't love George. 9,400 for Kawhi. It's an okay price tag. He is getting the revenge game narrative as well against the Spurs, his former team, but we saw earlier this year against the Spurs, Kawhi was not very vengeful, did not play very well against them. I would expect Kawhi plays better here, but still at 9,400. There's other ways I'd rather spend my salary today. Small forward, in my opinion, if I'm not playing DeRozan here, looking for mid-range plays, I think a guy like Jabari Parker at 5,500 is definitely in play. His minutes have been pretty consistent since going to the Wizards. Some games he's not played a ton of minutes, only 23, but in the games where he plays well, Jabari Parker usually goes out there for 32, 34 minutes. We've seen him play 34 minutes twice in his last 4 games, and he's put up big outings, 39 DraftKings points in both of those games. Even in some of the games where he's got like 20, 22 minutes, he's still been able to be very productive. 42 DraftKings points in only 23 minutes against the Cavs. I'd probably expect Parker to play like 26, 27 minutes here. Probably puts up like 30 fantasy points. That'd be a projection I'd have to give him. So 5,500 doesn't feel like the worst play. Definitely like me some Jabari Parker today in that small forward mid-range if you're going there. Looking for value though, you've got the guys I talked about. I think you can play Bazemore for value, who I like with Huerter doubtful. Taurean Prince should benefit a little bit with Huerter doubtful. He maybe picks up a few more minutes and a little bit more usage. But like cheap plays, really don't see any like must-play value guys here. Mostly it's Bazemore and Prince I'm looking to, guys from the Hawks. This should benefit with Huerter doubtful. But let's go ahead and move on to power forward now. There are definitely some good plays at this position. So obviously at the top you got the guys we talked about, but you got Blake Griffin at 8,900 against the Hawks. That looks really, really nice. Anthony Davis's price tag has dropped down all the way to 8,700 on DraftKings. We definitely need to talk about that. He is expected to play out the rest of the season with the Pelicans, but we don't know what his minutes are going to be on a nightly basis. I believe the Pelicans have already come out and said, or their GM has already come out and said that Davis is going to be going to have his minutes reduced rest of season. Drew Holiday going to have his minutes reduced as well. So maybe Davis only plays like 24, 25 minutes on a nightly basis now. It's just too hard to predict what we're going to get from Davis. If I was playing a lot of lineups, I would not fully fade him. I'd have a little bit of exposure, but he's not going to be a core play for me. It's just too risky to know what we're going to get from Davis. Obviously, in that game against OKC, he got hurt, but even in the games where he's been healthy, the minutes have just been so inconsistent. Hard to predict Davis for like more than 30 minutes. I just don't see him playing that much rest of the season. Feels like he doesn't even want to be on the Pelicans. He really doesn't seem like he's going to go out there and try too hard, so hard to play Davis on this slate. If I was playing a lot of lineups, though, I'd have a little bit of exposure. I would not fully fade, but if I'm making one lineup, Davis definitely does not make the cut. Blake Griffin, though, I really like at 8,900. If I had to choose between him or Davis, I would definitely feel safer playing Blake Griffin. Obviously, Davis has a ton of upside if he gets the minutes, but the minutes are just too hard to predict. Blake Griffin, though, in a great spot against the Hawks. Really like him at 8,900 on DK. Really like him on Yahoo as well. Power forward is not the best position usually on a nightly basis. We will talk about Jaron Jackson, who I like quite a bit at just $20. But if you can pay up at this position, Blake Griffin at 38 looks really, really nice against the Hawks. Like him quite a bit. I want to talk about some of these mid-range plays though. Really like Julius Randle at 7,400 on DraftKings. He's going to be pretty much a core play for me on DK. It's a little bit tougher to make him a priority on Yahoo because there are really good centers at the top. You got Jokic and Towns at 44 and 43. Drummond at 40 against the Hawks. Vooch at 39 against the Bulls looks really nice. On Yahoo, Randle's 29 at center. Obviously, you can only play two centers on Yahoo. We're going to talk about some value here potentially, maybe with a guy like Okafor. Mitchell Robinson, a decent value today with Joe Val injured, or not injured, but with Joe Val not playing, I believe for personal reasons. That should open up more minutes for Rab and Joakim Noah, who both are good center value plays. A little bit tougher to play Randle since you have to play him at center on Yahoo. Still like him though. I'm still going to have him in some of my Yahoo lineups. But on DraftKings, where you can play Randle at power forward, really, really interesting. He played 39 minutes. Their last game against OKC, he started that game, put up 60 DraftKings points. The Pelicans have already said they're going to get their young players more run. I believe Randle is part of that young core that they want to try and get more run, get more just time on the court. Davis, we're going to see lose minutes. We're going to see Drew Holiday lose some minutes. So Randle, I think, goes out and probably plays 34, 35 minutes. Most likely starts 7,400. Just too cheap of a price tag for him. The guy just has too much upside. Really like him on this slate, especially on DK, where you can play him at power forward. There are some other power forwards I want to talk about. Jaron Jackson's one of them. A little bit tougher to play him on DraftKings. He's 6,400. That's not the best price. I would try and find this $1,000 and get up to Randle if I could. But over on Yahoo, where Jaron Jackson's power forward, and he's only $20, he really looks good over here. We do know that Joe Val is not playing today, which should free up more minutes in the front court. We should see Jackson pick up a few more minutes. I think Rab probably gets back to like 20 minutes, 20-plus minutes. He really hasn't been involved at all lately. It's mostly just been Valanciunas and Joakim Noah getting most of the center minutes, but I think we're going to see Rab pick up some more time. And Joakim Noah, we're going to talk about, I think is a really good value. He should see more minutes with Valanciunas out. Jaron Jackson Jr., though, with like Gasol out, we saw earlier this year when Gasol was out those few games, Jackson really benefited, played big minutes. That game against Minnesota, 37 minutes. That game against OKC, 33 minutes. And then when Valanciunas got traded, when Valanciunas got traded to the Grizzlies, we saw Jackson Jr.'s minutes go down a little bit, 23, 27 minutes. Hasn't been very productive lately, but this is definitely a bounce-back spot. I think we see his minutes get back over the 30s. It's a really good matchup against the Clippers, pace-up spot for the Grizzlies. Really like Jaron Jackson Jr. a lot, especially on Yahoo, where he's only $20 at power forward. Definitely stands out to me. On DraftKings, don't have as much interest in him because he's $6,400, which feels like a lot to pay for him. I'd probably try and find the $1,000 to get up to Julius Randle. But now some other power forwards. You got a Von Rab, who's $5,600, which seems a little bit more than I want to pay, even with Valanciunas out, even if Rab starts and plays 25, 30 minutes. At $5,600, that is pretty hefty price tag, even in a really good matchup. We're going to talk about Joakim Noah, who's really cheap across both sides. His minimum price on Yahoo is like $3,700, $3,800 on DK. I feel like Joakim Noah going to be one of the top values today. We'll talk about it though when we get to center. There are two value plays I want to talk about at power forward under 5K. Jeff Green at 4,900 I think is definitely in play for value, but I do prefer Dario Saric. I really like Dario Saric on both sides. He's 4,800 on DK. On Yahoo, he's really cheap as well at power forward. He's $14 over here. I'm not going to include him in the Yahoo core, but really like him on Yahoo at 14. On DraftKings, where he's 4,800 at power forward, looks really good in my opinion. He had started the last two games before the All-Star break. Against the Clippers he started, and against Houston he started over Taj Gibson. In those games he put up 37 and 29 DraftKings points. He played 33 and 24 minutes. Great matchup against the Knicks. Obviously, I think the minutes are going to be there for Sarge. I think he probably plays upper 20s, low 30s in minutes. Should be productive when he's on the floor, just with how good the matchup is. Dario Saric still feels a bit underpriced at 4,800. He should definitely be over 5K now that he's starting and playing more minutes. So like him as a value play on DraftKings. I think he really stands out on both sides if you want to play him for value at power forward. But let's go ahead and move on to center now. I really like the top of this position. Jokic, Towns, Vucevic, Drummond. I think all these guys are great plays today. But my favorite is Jokic at 10-1 against Dallas. I like Jokic on Yahoo as well. Over here, he's 44, where Towns is 43, then Drummond's 40, Vuce is 39. Jokic still my preferred option over here. Just such a good matchup. This Dallas team been getting killed by bigs. Without DeAndre Jordan, they're going to really struggle to defend Jokic here. It's going to be some combination of Maxi Kleber and Dwight Powell trying to slow down Jokic, and that's not really going to work. I see Jokic putting up a really big game here. Before the break, his last 4 games before the break, he had put up over 63 DraftKings points in 3 of the last 4 games. Just been playing so well, playing big minutes in competitive games. The Nuggets, just as a team, are playing so well. Really like Jokic here. Hard to see him fail in this spot, especially with no real big center out there that can slow him down, that can defend him. Love Jokic. He's one of my favorite options to pay up for on this slate. I think Towns against the Knicks is also really good, but I do slightly prefer Jokic if I have to pay for one. If I have to choose one, it's going to be Jokic for me over Towns. Drummond in my 10 Yahoo lineups, and I have some exposure to, probably in a couple. Vooch as well, having at least 1 or 2 of my Yahoo lineups. But if there's a guy that I'm playing like 4 or 5 out of 10 Yahoo lineups, it's going to be Jokic. He's going to be the guy I have the most exposure to. Mid-range plays, though, I don't really see myself going to the mid-range at center. Mostly going to be paying up here or going for value. The one mid-range play I would go to would be Randle, but obviously you can play him at power forward. He would be a mid-range guy, though. But I want to talk about some value here. So with Joe Val out for this game for the Grizzlies, Valanciunas is out for personal reasons. We're probably going to see Ivan Rabb move into the starting lineup, and maybe he'll garner some ownership, but I have a lot more interest in Joakim Noah. Joakim Noah is 3,800 on DraftKings. He's minimum priced on Yahoo. I think he's a really good play on both sides. Even with Valanciunas playing the last 2 games, Joakim Noah pretty much has been getting all the backup center minutes, has been playing really well. The 2 games with Valanciunas playing against the Spurs and against the Bulls, Joakim Noah played 18 and 20 minutes. I believe Valanciunas in those games played 21 and 22 minutes. And I think Ivan Rabb played like 7 minutes and 8 minutes. Really wasn't getting a ton of run. Even if Rabb starts here, I think we see Joakim Noah get a lot of run off the bench. Probably plays at least 22, 24 minutes. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets upper 20s. Might even get to 30 minutes. We saw him play 30 minutes against the Pelicans, which is a bit of surprise. But Noah is very productive when he's on the floor. He's going to score. He'll grab rebounds. He'll get some assists as well. Can give you a point per minute. So if he's going to play anywhere close to 25, 30 minutes, 3,800 really stands out to me, especially in a great matchup against the Clippers. I like Joakim Noah a lot on this slate. It does stand out to me as a really good value on both sides. Just Valanciunas being out should free up a lot of minutes in the front court. Valanciunas was playing low 20s in minutes. I expect Noah picks up probably 6 or 7 of those minutes. I think Ivan Rabb probably, instead of playing like 7, 8 minutes, probably plays like 20 minutes. And then you probably get Noah playing like those 26, 28 minutes off the bench. Wouldn't be surprised if they move Noah into the starting lineup either, just with how well he's been playing and with how poorly Rabb has been playing. But yeah, guys, I think that's it for center. I did want to mention Mitchell Robinson before we close out the video. Mitchell Robinson, 4,500, definitely in play for value as well. But I think that's it for center, guys, and I think that's it for the video. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Hopefully it did help you. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you click that like button down below. Make sure you subscribe. If you have not already, if you do have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, or hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT. But yeah, guys, good luck tonight on this 9-game slate. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.